As with just about everything else in SSIS, you have to deal with type conversions when you're working in SSIS's expression language. So I just want to show you in a fairly quick example how to do typecasts. So let's create ourselves a new package and let's do this. We're going to create a folder on the hard drive, a set of folders that match a group of years. And in those folders, we're going to put in some text files. Document one.txt, and it's going to have ID, the data as the column names, one, data from 2009, blah, 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 not really important what's in it. Then in the 2010 folder, you'd have something similar, document one.txt, ID, the data, two, data from 2010, etc. Okay. Now, here's what I want to show you. You've got a couple of variables at the front of your package so that they have package scope. And one of them is called file name, and it's going to be a string. And another is called the year, and that's going to be an int32, and go ahead and default it to 2008 for whatever reason. And then path to folder would be a string, and we're going to make that C:\\. So and we'll put in something here just to get us off to a start. So if we strung these together, if we concatenated them, we would come up with C 2008 document one.txt as our source or our destination, logging info, whatever you were using this particular text for, right? But what we're going to have to deal with here is if we use an expression, notice our type mismatches here. We've got two strings and then we've got this integer. Okay, so that's going to cause us a little bit of an issue. So let's do this. Let's drag a data flow task onto the surface, and let's drag a flat file source, and let's use one of the files as a control file. So I'll just go get the 2009, the source. And so I'll go grab the 2009 copy of this, and we'll pick out, columns. You could see data from 2009, fine, etc. We don't even need to consume it. I mean, we could send it out to a destination, but not really the important part of this. What we want to do, though, we've set up our package using this control file. Now what we want to do is have SSIS at runtime pick up the values of the variables and use those. So the one thing that we need to do is we need to step one, assign the year variable to be current year. Let me set my fonts here, make it to where actual humans could read the size of the text. And then step two, pass this to the flat file source to load up. Let's make that up. So this is what we need to do. So our step number one, to assign the year variable, easiest way to do this, just like we did in the last video, grab a script task, name it step one, name it assign, whatever. Grab my read write, do the year. Where is it? There it is. And edit my script. Oh, I chose Visual C#. Sorry, I wasn't thinking about it. This is actually fairly simple. DTS.variables, the year dot value equals date time dot now dot year. Hey, if you are a VB person, all you need to do is replace the brackets with parens and leave off the semicolon at the end. Okay? Your choice of language there. That's it. Works good. We say OK. And now for our data flow task, come down here. same question I've asked you probably 5, 6, 7 times by now. If I want to change the actual source file, do I change the source connection manager or the flat file source? I change the connection manager. So I go to the properties of the connection manager and I go to its expressions down here and I say that the connection string, and I click my little expression builder icon. Now, I could just type it in, right? 2009 document 1.txt, evaluate the expression. Oops, I do that all the time. Remember that we have to include the double backslash because that is in fact an escape sequence character in the SSIS language. So this isn't what we want to do though, is it right? We want this to be built based on our variables. So easy enough. Let's just come down here and say the path to file or path to folder plus the year, which we also need to put, now that I think about it, that so that it separates that treats that as a folder instead of part of the file name. And then we grab the file name here. Now the problem, let's see if this actually causes us a problem. We have a string type, we have an integer type, so a DTI4, and then we have another string over here. So when I click evaluate expression, we're going to bomb out because we got incompatible data types. So evaluate, the world blows up, and you can see it. I wrote down string. It specifically had transformed, transposed, cast, whatever. It used those as the wide string, DTWSTR. So it says you cannot take a wide string and an integer and put them together with the plus sign. You can do it to perform this operation. One or both has to be cast with the cast operator. All right, I just show you that. I know that. I know how to do that. So let's say, okay, let's come over here. Here's our type casts. I can't unfortunately expand too much. I could just kind of drill and show you what these are. So what I want to do I want to convert the path and the file name to an integer, or do I want to convert the year to a string? Right? We want to convert the year to a string. What type of string though? So you notice that we can convert. What it's saying right here is convert to one of these data types. Okay, so that's what you're specifying here. If you were to drag this onto the surface here, oh man, that didn't work out at all. If you were to drag DTUI2, you are converting to DTUI2. So we need to know what types these strings are. And if we click that evaluate expression again, it shows us that we need DTWSTR. So we need to convert the year to WSTR. So go find it in your thing. And where did you go? Right here. Okay. So here we choose WSTR, and we need to convert the year using that. Now notice the syntax here. So the syntax is you put the typecast in front of the variable name. Okay. No spaces between them, just put it in front. That says this variable is going to be put into this particular type. Okay. The length that you see right here, so put the length, the max length you expect, and you actually don't pay a penalty here if you put too much. I'll show you what I mean. So I can take this out, and I'm going to go get my DTWSTR, drag it right there in between my two plus signs, and I need to then take my user the year, put it right next to it, and then change my length to 4 and evaluate my expression. Okay, so let's close out of here. It's fairly simple to get used to working with this. Remember, put the typecast in front of what you're casting. In this case, I happen to use a variable, but it could have just as well been literal content. Just personally, I find that I'm usually working with columns or variables. So just put your typecasting in front. I just want to show you what happens with the length if I make this 500, for example. So notice, let me kind of change this down here. Notice that up here, the wide string has a parameter of length. And if I make that length larger than what the value is over here, it's actually going to trim it off. So for example, it did not, when I clicked evaluate expression, it did not put 4 actual characters and then 496 spaces. Okay, it simply trimmed it, if you will, and that's all that you really wanted to do. So there's not a whole lot to data types and typecast. You just have to be able to read these error messages. Like, I'll strip this out again. You have to be able to read these error messages and understand what they're talking about. When it's talking about cast operators, you need to be up here in the typecasts folder.